Hi guys. So this August 1st, it's been 15 years since I've started my own company. On August 1st, 2010, I applied for a Danish tax number, which is called a CVR number. In different countries, it can be called something else, but that was basically started my freelancing journey. I didn't really start it because I wanted to be a freelancer and work on my own. I wanted to work as part of a team. So I did apply at Lego in Billund in Denmark. Once I didn't get selected for that, I decided to jump into being freelancer because I had an opportunity to work on a project where I needed a tax number. And that's really how I started my freelancing journey. So having been a freelance designer for 15 years, I decided to do a podcast episode about my main findings, my main feedback, and my main really suggestions and advice for mainly new designers and just designers out there in general. So this is some of my lessons I've learned over the last 15 years. For me, networking has been very important. So I've did my best to stay in touch with my fellow students from design school in Kolding and different collaborators throughout the years. And those connections have helped me a lot over the years. And a great tool to use is LinkedIn. I didn't use it so much in the beginning, and I actually haven't posted any design work on it. That's a mistake, and I need to start posting more design work on LinkedIn. But coming out from design school, stay in touch with your fellow design students, stay in touch with teachers you've had, with instructors you've had, and just really build your list of connections and be active on LinkedIn. That's where decision makers and CEOs are spending a lot of time. So important to be in those areas where you can potentially connect with people that you may be able to work with at some point. In my experience, when you come out from design school as a fresh designer, you don't quite know how much value your craft has. You don't know much about pricing yourself, making estimates. So a lot of times, that was my experience, you get a lot of offers for free work. You can do this free work. We don't have a budget, but you can do this very cool project, and there will be much more paid work down the line. In my experience of 15 years of doing a lot of pro bono work, a lot of free work, it rarely comes back to you in terms of paid work. So be aware of how much free work you do, how much pro bono volunteer work you do. I would suggest don't do any free work. In my case, I've always wanted to save the world and work on good causes and good projects, because that's something that I think it's important for me to feel that I do some kind of difference. But I would say save yourself first, get your business into a great place. And once you are doing well financially, you have a much better platform for helping good causes. So you can donate money, you can help other designers, you could spend some of your time doing pro bono work. But point one, save yourself first, get into a great situation in terms of your finances, and then you can consider doing pro bono work. In my experience, it's very important to keep track of your time. As a designer, it's easy to get lost in time and the creative process and sketching, and I'm just having fun and it's all great. But also, time is money, and it's very good tool and very good idea to track your time. So for years, I've been using a software called Timing. So basically, every project I have, I make a project, and then I start to track all my time. So it actually helps me to see, okay, I spent 40 hours on that project, but I estimated 30 or 25. In my experience, I've become much better at estimating how much time it takes to do a project. And I think having that timing app really has helped me to see, okay, I estimated this and it actually was this. And also in my experience, it makes me more focused when I see the timing is ticking, or as a client is paying for this job, I should get concentrated and get this done. So I can highly recommend use some kind of tracking system. It will help you make estimates. It will help you become more effective. It will just help you not drive blindly in terms of where you spend your time. Everybody told me in 2017, 2018, don't use Upwork, stay away from Upwork. It's a race to the bottom. It's just very low paid projects. I didn't listen. I just said it seems to be a great platform to meet a lot of people worldwide. It was very hard to get traction there. I did have to do a logo for a very small price. I did have to do some small projects to get those 5 stars reviews. But then slowly I could build from there. And now I made $210,000 on Upwork since I started. So sometimes people will tell you, don't do this, it doesn't work, I've tried it. Sometimes maybe just follow your own gut feeling and do it anyway, because I actually have met a lot of my best clients on Upwork, and I'm always amazed how I can connect with somebody in Japan or somebody in Mexico. A lot of times it's hard to connect with those people if you don't have a big platform as Upwork. Of course, you can work on SEO and you can work on being easy to find on search engines and now AI engines. But having a profile on Upwork, in my experience, it has helped me, and I quite enjoy all of the clients I met there. So sometimes people say don't do it. Maybe sometimes just do it anyway and see where it goes. So it is possible to make money on Upwork. Also, it's important for me to have learned to make contracts. In the beginning, it's kind of hard to figure out how to do a contract, and is it needed, and is it too business-like? And in my experience, it's good to make a contract. It forces both parties to kind of have a clear document outlining expectations, timeline, budgets, what is covered, what is not covered, how many rounds of revisions, all of those. It's clearly stated, and both people can sign it. And then you have a document that is shared, and hopefully that document will help you avoid confusion and challenges down the road. A lot of new tools out there. AI can even help you make a draft of your contract. And depending on what country you're in, you can also find guidance on what kind of law language you should include. But definitely get into a good habit of sending out contracts. It's also important to keep your boundaries. So similar to relationships, when you set boundaries, it kind of gives your client a good sense of when you're available. So if you're available to speak on the phone from 4 to 5 every Friday, say that. If you don't check email at a certain time, maybe communicate that and say, I'm available on Slack in this time frame. And between revisions, I can be reached in this and this way. So it's always a good way to keep your private time private, and to not have everything just blend into one big work session. So think about what kind of boundaries you want to have in your work. Are you answering emails on a Sunday evening, or are you waiting until Monday at 9:30? So in my experience, if you start replying at odd hours, your client will expect that you reply at odd hours. So if you don't do that to begin with, it sets a nice frame. They will respect that boundary, and it's more clearly defined. So consider enforcing boundaries and setting up boundaries. I no longer do logos. I will no longer just do a logo. A lot of people ask me, can you do a logo? And now the answer will be no, I don't do a logo. I will do a visual identity where a logo is a part of that toolbox that is a visual identity. But I will no longer just do a logo, because a logo is a part of a system, a visual system consisting of fonts, color scheme, layout, approaches, a visual style, tone of voice. It's a lot more than just a logo. So the times where I have just done a logo, a lot of times I've actually also created some kind of small visual identity anyway, selecting fonts, color schemes, layouts, because to me, a logo, again, is just a small little component in the visual identity. So think about what do you do? Will you do a logo, or do you only do visual identity systems? And sometimes it's important to stop. take a break. If you're stuck in a creative brainstorming session, if you're stuck in a creative project, you have no idea how to go to the next step, you feel that you don't have enough time to take a break because you have to deliver this project next morning, just shut down the laptop and go for a walk, go for a bicycle ride, go for a hike in the forest. A lot of times when I have forced myself to do that, when I come back, I have this idea that I would have spent hours like trying to force out of my head. Sometimes you just need a break and you need to get away from your computer, away from the sketch pad, and then sometimes you just need to go to bed. So I used to work at night. Now I would rather go to bed at 10 and then get up at 5. And so find a way to have a break, to get away from your project. And then in my experience, our brains are so brilliant that sometimes you will get a dream. You will wake up in the morning, you will come back from that walk, and you have that solution. So take a break. If drawing is a big part of your creative process, remember to draw. I kind of fell into that trap of just staying too much in the computer. I thought, okay, I have some ideas. I'll just go straight into Illustrator and start doing logos in there. So now I see that I've come too far away from my original craft, which is drawing. It's very important to keep close to your craft, your core craft. And for me, it's drawing. That's why I'm a graphic designer. I will now do a conscious effort to do more drawing, to sketch more, to close that laptop. A lot of times, some of the best ideas come from when I sketch 1 or 2 hours, when I sketch half an hour, when I sketch on an airplane in a book. So again, stay true to your craft and don't get bogged down in front of the laptop at all times. Sometimes just go back to the basics. Stay flexible. So when I first applied for my internship in New York City, I had a Skype call with Marcus from Toda. Now Skype is gone. Now we have AI. When I started, there was no Canva. Now there's Canva, so you can basically do a lot of design work in Canva. So I'm sure it's going to be bought up by Adobe or reverse at some point. Now we have AI. We didn't have that 5 years ago. So stay flexible, be willing to learn. A cool thing about me doing this podcast is that I now am more comfortable doing editing in Adobe Premiere, and I do it even in Riverside Studio. I'm learning about audio. So that's something I never really been comfortable with before, because I thought I'm not a video editor. I don't do that. But sometimes just jump into it, and it's important to stay flexible and have an open mind. So don't have a too close mindset saying, I don't do this because I'm this kind of designer. This is how you stay relevant, that you keep nimble, keep being flexible to working with new types of software, new approaches. Stay flexible. This is another thing about timing. Deadlines, in my experience, deadlines are my friends. If I had no deadlines, everything would take forever and it would never go anywhere. So a deadline is great to have. If your client doesn't give you a deadline, set your own deadlines and then experiment with putting your work into chunks. You could try out the Pomodoro method, where you work for 20 minutes and then you have a break and then 20 minutes again, or find another way that works for you. But have some kind of structure, have some blocks, have deadlines. Forget about perfection. It doesn't exist. I don't think I ever done a project where I thought this is the perfect project. This is exactly how I wanted it to be. I couldn't be more happy with this. I don't have any of those projects, and I probably will never will, because there's always something you could improve on, and you will never get to. I don't think I will get to experience this is the perfect project. This is like perfection. I don't think it exists. Even having 15 years of design experience, I still think that I'm an imposter, and I still haven't really posted any work on LinkedIn because I don't think that I really know anything, but we do. So again, forget about perfection. This is a key piece of advice to designers. I very much enjoyed being part of Patrick O'Connell's ProfitableDesigner.com. He has a great mastermind group of designers all working towards becoming better business people, better designers. And a lot of the issues that many designers have, including myself, is that we focus on our portfolio, we polish our websites, we think about, I need to have this beautiful portfolio PDF. And then we sometimes forget about the clients don't hire us for our portfolios. They don't really care how many years of experience we have. They don't really care if we have spent all of this time on this like polished font. Clients want an outcome. They want to go from A to B. They want to have more clients. They want to have more coaching calls. They want to sell more orange juice. So design is a tool to achieve our clients' goals. So a lot of designers, I think we should start focusing more on how can we help our clients. Think about the client's problems. Think about what is it that your client want to achieve, and then how can you help that client achieve that goal by using design. They don't hire you because of your beautiful portfolio or your 15 years of experience. They hire you to solve a problem. So start getting into that mindset of thinking about what is it that you can solve with design that can help your client go from A to B. Have an accountability group or have an accountability partner. I have several accountability partners I have calls with every week. And I also joined a mastermind group for designers. And I can highly recommend having somebody that can keep you on track and call out your bullshit when you say, I need to do this. And then 5 months in, you haven't done anything. So have somebody that can be a little bit tough and say, oh, you haven't done this, Marco. You said you would do this 2 weeks ago and you haven't done anything. And find an accountability partner that you can work with so you can help each other move forward. One of my favorite books is Think and Grow Rich. I recommend that you should read this every year. It's an outstanding book, Psycho-Cybernetics, that I got sent from Patrick O'Connell from Probable Designer. Truly an outstanding book. And like those two books, foundation for so much advice that many coaches and many business advisors tell you, like outstanding books. I also find a lot of good value in a lot of Tony Robbins courses and approaches, and his latest RPM, rapid planning methods. Outstanding way to structure your day without having a long list of to-do list. This RPM method is more about what is the main purpose, why are you doing this, and then selecting your to-do list, basically put them into blocks that focus on achieving those goals. So you can put your to-do list into buckets of family, job, finances, and so forth. And the new RPM software is outstanding. I also recommend finding some kind of co-working space if you work from home. If you work from home for some days, but you need some kind of creative collaboration or just need, as me, to be around people that also work, I feel like when I sit in a room where people next to me also are working, I get a lot more done instead of sitting in a home with dishes in the corner and I should also do the vacuum and whatever. It makes me a lot more effective to be in a space where I work alongside other people. So if there's some kind of co-working space in the area, it could even be a cafe, go there for some days, for some hours, to just get out of the house and see other people. I find a lot of value in going to co-working spaces. So I look very much forward to going to the one in Montclair when it opens. It's important to know when to quit a project where you have delivered different rounds, you've had several meetings with the client, and something is just not working. Maybe your solutions are not right. Maybe the fit with the client is not right. It's nothing to do with you or the client, but this collaboration just doesn't work. So sometimes it's better to call it quits early on instead of wasting a lot of time going down a route where you know it's not going to work. I think it's also fair when a client decides to do the same, decides to, this doesn't work. I think we should start the collaboration here. there's not a right match, or we just don't understand each other. Fair enough. I also find a lot of value in mentoring younger students, connecting with younger students. And also I've learned a ton by being a guest judge at Parsons design school classes with Marcos from Toda. Over 10 years, I've been invited to be a guest judge at the final design presentations at some of his many design classes with Parsons School of Design. The cliches are true. Teaching teaches you so much. I've learned so much. And every year, I'm just more and more amazed from those students. I just learn about new technologies. I learn about new approaches. I learn about new trends. Find a way to mentor, find a way to teach. It will teach you a lot and it will keep you sharp. Word on your portfolio. Don't spend too much time finding the perfect look and the perfect feel. Just start getting it out there. I need to take my own medication and start posting work on LinkedIn, which I haven't done ever. So I haven't posted one piece of work on LinkedIn in 15 years. That makes no sense. So forget about the imposter syndrome and post your work and be active, comment on other people's work. And again, don't make it perfect because it's not possible. So get something out there so people can see what you do and you can get feedback and you can learn from there. Don't overthink your portfolio. Just be sure to keep it updated. Something that's always hard for designers to do because we want to have 5 more hours to make it even better. Maybe just don't think too much about it and get something out there. AI is changing everything, and who knows where design is in a few years because it goes very fast and it keeps improving. But I do think that humans and designers who are humans, one of the skills that is very hard to replicate for AI is taste, is the sense of composition and really your design eye. So I use my eyes every day and I've trained my composition skills over the years. And I think one of the main qualities with good design is good composition. If the composition is off, it's just very hard to make something good. And I still think the human eye has an advantage when it comes to composition, seeing the good motives. Yeah, you could put a lot of stuff into AI, but if you don't direct it, if you don't use your eyes in terms of the composition and the overall look and feel, you're not going to get the best quality. So again, I think we have to think about AI as we are directing AI. And if we're using our design sensibilities, we can direct it and we will get something better. If we don't direct it, it will just take us wherever it wants to take us. Always carry a sketchbook. For many years, I always had a black Moleskine sketchbook. Now I've just transitioned to $1 books from Staples. One thing I've seen in my sketchbook, the early sketchbooks were full of drawings and sketches and logo sketches. Now it's mainly just random text that I almost can't read myself. But again, I want to get to a place where I draw more. I also want to have a way to get away from my phone and get away from my laptop. So I still believe that it's important to have some tactility, to have paper, to have pen. A lot of us, we just sit like this all day, and it doesn't do anything good for your posture and doesn't do anything good for your back. I really find great value in having this one. It kind of raises my laptop so I don't sit like this all day. And I love this thing. So find some kind of laptop elevator. Also, one thing I couldn't work without is my Wacom tablet. I haven't used the trackpad on my computer for years. I use it when I'm on the train, and then I have pain in my wrist after about half an hour. So I always use this Wacom pen. Every time I browse, every time I work in Illustrator, every time I do anything on my laptop. I can't recommend it more. If you're a designer, even if you don't design, if you just browse and do other things on the laptop, consider buying some kind of tablet pen. I highly recommend that. Find your tribe, find your community, find your mastermind, find a network of people that you connect with, same interests, maybe different interests, but find some real humans that shares your passion for design and connect with them. Also connect with people that do different designs. I have a lot of friends that are industrial designers, some are architects, some are fashion designers, and it very much inspires me to hear about other types of design. Those were some of my insights and findings after having been a freelance designer for 15 years, first in Denmark and now in Montclair, New Jersey, New York City for the last 13 years. I hope you find some of the tips valuable, and I would love to have your feedback in the comment section. And please consider subscribing if you find this channel valuable. Thank you so much.